What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into the Friday morning edition of the Daily Juice podcast. My name is Matt Peralt. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt. Every morning we are here on BettingPros.com across all of our platforms where you get the podcast and on YouTube every morning as well. This podcast being brought to you by BetMGM. All right, so a 2-1 night last night on the podcast. Good stuff there with Michigan. Again, I'm going to say it again. I just don't think Iowa's a very good basketball team, even when healthy. I think Iowa's legitimately a top 20 basketball team. I just don't think they're top 15, and I don't think they're going to be able to match wits with the Illinois, the Michigans, even the Ohio States. I mean, they match up probably better with Ohio State, but I just don't think this is a team that's going to make a ton of noise in March. And I know Iowa fans get really angry with me. You guys were mad at me when it came to Michigan in this game and taking Michigan. I had people saying, the Hawks someone said the Hawks are going to destroy them. They're going to put up 90. No, didn't happen. First half was decent. Second half was a complete destruction, and Michigan is now realistically in the conversation for one of the top three teams in the country with Gonzaga and Baylor. So playing just really, really well. Great recruiting as well from Michigan, getting all types of high-level recruits. Really big win for Michigan. Ohio State loses on the road at Michigan State. Look out for Tom Izzo beating Illinois and now beating Ohio State in back-to-back games. I mean, don't fade Izzo right now, and don't fade Coach K right now. Duke and Michigan State are playing, and it's really interesting to see how these teams are going to go over the next couple of days here and next couple of weeks, because I wouldn't want to play the Spartans or the Blue Devils right now with the way that they're playing. But Wolverines with a really, really big win, really impressive victory, and they continue to roll. We got even money on the win for the Devils, which was nice. Needed that. They got a W for us. And then the Montreal Canadiens, the magic of firing Claude Julien lasted 2 periods. And then 5 goals unanswered by the Jets. They just turned it on and destroyed the Montreal Canadiens. So that was a bad bet. Unfortunately, that lost. Jets are really good at home. Montreal continues to be a complete disaster. 2 wins in their last 9 games. That's an L for us with that one. So a 2-1 day, not bad. Working on a 11-7 week so far for the podcast. Today, I have got 4 plays overall. 2 plays in the NBA, 1 play in the NHL, and 1 play in college basketball to give you coming up today for a Friday. Plus the, don't bet parlays parlay. It's a Friday. And like the t-shirt says, don't bet a parlay. You can go buy that t-shirt at fantasypros.com/shop if you'd like. But that t-shirt's available. And yeah, I've got it for you. It's a plus 800 one. If you had bet all of these, don't. But if you had, we're 2-6. So we're up $600 if you had bet them all. I don't bet them. But if you had bet $100, don't bet $100. But if you had, just for the math's sake, you would be up because we're 2-6 and we hit 2 of them that are plus 600. So not bad, not great in terms of you only get a couple of these because they're such big long shots, but I don't think you should do it. I don't do it. I just give them to you because I think there's a possibility that you might wind up getting it, you might hitting. So 3 plays, 3 legs, plus 800 coming up for the Don't Play a Parlay parlay. Okay, real quick here on the cookies. A couple of you guys have reached out to me and saying, hey, Matt, if you have any stragglers, any orders that have not been completed, I'll cover them. Here's what I'm going to do. In the YouTube, go to youtube.com, search BettingPros. I'm going to put Celia's email address in the comment section or in the description of this Friday morning Daily Juice video. So you can go find it. It's Celia at sweetseasbakery.com. Celia at sweetseas, letter C, S, bakery.com. That's her email address. There are 17 orders outstanding. That's it. So we have a bunch of people who have already taken care of it. 281 orders? 282. We have 282 orders, which have been paid for already by everybody who's ordered them. This is incredible. So just 17 orders outstanding. If you want to take care of and help us get those 17 orders completed and paid, that's how you can do it. Or if you have not received a link to pay for your orders to get your cookies, you can do so by emailing Celia at sweetseasbakery.com and say, hey, look, I need my link, and she'll send it to you. So 17 orders outstanding. If you want to cover them, that's how you can do it for us. If you need to pay for it, that's how you can do it for us. And then we can put a bow on all this. We have 299 orders. That's nearly $3,000 to be donated, plus the $2,500 that we have from the owners at Betting Pros. Just a really cool fundraiser. Very, very cool. Very excited. Awesome, 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 awesome. So, 2-1 day yesterday. Good start, by the way, for John Rahm. and for Tony Finau, both in the top 10. We bet both of them to be in the top 10 at the workday at the World Golf Championship. They both got off to a good start, 4 under par, and 6 under the leader, so they're right there. I'm glad we did not take Dustin Johnson. He did not play well at all. He may miss the cut at that thing with the way that he played, which is kind of the way Dustin Johnson can run sometimes, just kind of really high or really low. So Finau and Jon Rahm, both off to a good start. We'll watch them again today here for round number 2. I won't get involved too much. I don't think I'll be involved with a head-to-head, but as the weekend progresses, maybe there'll be something that I will jump onto, but as of right now, no. Okay, so before we get to the picks, you guys know about the BetMGM offer, which is available right now. We had somebody in Colorado take advantage of this yesterday. I had to help him, though. I had to get him on the horn with our BetMGM friends to get it taken care of, but it did finally work for him. But you got a $600 up to a $600 risk-free first bet for new users by using the promo code JUICE100, up to a $600 risk-free first bet at BetMGM, available in New Jersey, Colorado, where the guy was, Indiana, Tennessee, Iowa, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. You must be physically located in those states to take advantage of this offer. You must be 21 years or older using the promo code JUICE100. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado and Nevada, 1-800-GAMBLER in New Jersey and West Virginia, or 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. All right, let's talk about the plays for tonight. Let's start with college basketball. Drake. Now, I was going to bet Canisius. I had placed a bet on Canisius, half a unit on Canisius, plus 2.5. Game was canceled. So game was postponed, so that's a bummer. So that game is not going to get played. I was convinced by you guys on the Discord channel because, look, we will do it again on Monday for you guys to make the actual bet. But I listen. As I told you guys, I'm an aggregator of information. So whenever somebody wants to stand on a table and there's one guy in the Discord channel who is all about Canisius and they are 5-1 on the road since coming off of a COVID layoff, they've been really, really good. And it's been kind of like a running joke that the only people watching Canisius games are the Daily Juice audience, but they're cashing. I watched you guys cash last time. So I said, all right, if this comes around, I will do this, because I had the same thing with the Columbus Blue Jackets last night. I said to somebody who was standing on the table for Columbus, I said, okay, I'm going to follow the Blue Jackets. He was like, overs on Columbus. I was like, all right, I'm going to bet this tonight. If it hits the next time on the podcast, I will take it officially. It didn't hit. So we're not going to take Columbus Blue Jackets overs. But the Canisius stuff, I said the same thing. I said, if it hits, we'll do it. It hit. So now I'm like, okay, we're going to take the Canisius, whatever the heck they are, in their game. And unfortunately, the game got canceled due to COVID. So that game is off. So the only play is Drake. Drake -9. There were 8.5s out there at DraftKings, but I can only get 9 here in Vegas. So I decided to bite the bullet and take it. Drake has now covered 4 consecutive times. And Drake is, again, we missed on them last time because of that stupid layup at the end. But if you had 10.5, which is the closing number was 10.5, it cashed. So as I told you, officially, Drake did cover their last game, even though overnight we didn't get the best number and they didn't cover. So 8.5 or 9, I mean, there's no real difference. Maybe it's a push, but one's a win, one's a push. But it's not a loss per se if we get to 9 for Drake on the road at Bradley. Bradley is god-awful. I mean, they are awful. They're 9-14 against the spread. They're 4-9 against the number. They covered at home on the 17th of January. Then they didn't cover again till the 10th of February. They haven't covered their last 3. They've covered once since the 20th of January. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're 1-11 over the last 12 against the number for the Bradley Braves. Drake's on the road. Yes, don't care. Laying the 9. We're rolling with the train for Drake, who right now have gone 19-4 against the number, and I think that they destroy here. Bradley is not good. They were getting 7 and 6.5 from Loyola Chicago. They lost by 13, and they lost by 7. I'm always using that team as a barometer for what I think Drake is going to do to whatever team they're playing. Didn't cover either of the 2 home games. We're back on Drake. Drake +9. Okay, couple NBA plays. One of them, you know where I'm going. The Utah Jazz. Utah is 5.5. Favored 5.5 up against a really tough team in the Miami Heat. I understand why there's going to be professionals who are going to fade the Utah Jazz tonight. Are we paying a Utah Jazz tax? Yes. Do we have to kind of bite the bullet and realize that that's going to happen for a long time until this train stops? Yes. But they are 24-7 against the number. They have covered their last two games as 12.5 and 8.5 point favorites, both at home. This game's on the road. They won by 22 and 25 points, covering by 9.5 and 16.5. But on the other side, Utah taking on Miami. Miami's covered 4 straight games. At home against Toronto, they won by 8, covering by 6.5 points. Oklahoma City on the road, they won by 14, covered by 7. Lakers plus 3.5, they won by 2, that's over 5.5. And then Sacramento laying 1 on the road, and they won by 8, that covered it by 7 points. So you might go, Matt, are you sure you want to get into this? Look, I am. Miami's a tough team, but they're 13, 18, and 1 to the number. And at home, they're 5, 9, and 1. Utah on the road, 10 and 5 to the number. 14, 2, and 1 at home, but 10 and 5 to the number. They've won 2 games in a row, covered 2 games in a row. I'm not going to, they beat the Clippers by 18 in that first game without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So when they had them in there, they lost by 4. But before that, they covered on the road against Indiana, against Charlotte, against Atlanta. So I'm just coming back here with Utah minus 5.5. We're taking the Jazz minus 5.5 on the road at the Miami Heat for a half a unit. And the other game, the Houston Rockets taking on the Toronto Raptors. This game being played in Florida. Okay, so Toronto is 18 and 15 to the number. Sorry, to the over, excuse me. Houston is 11 and 19. They're the worst team in the NBA right now at going over. They don't have Christian Wood. And the number is Toronto by 7. You look at the way Houston's played recently, and 3 of their games did go over, but the last 2, 3 of the last 5 went over, but the last 2 against Chicago and Cleveland both went under. Their offense just isn't very good right now. They don't play with a lot of pace, and the 4 out of 5 games before, or 4 out of 4 of the last 5 for Toronto have gone under, including their last 2 home games against Philadelphia, both at home. Both games went under, on the road at Minnesota and on the road at Milwaukee. I got 221, Houston and Toronto. I'm going under here. I think this could be a big win for Toronto, maybe like a 110 to 100 victory here. I don't think the Houston Rockets score all that much. I think Toronto scores just enough. In the Kyle Lowry situation where he may be wanting to be traded, I wonder how he's doing. I wonder how the locker room is going to take it, what the team's going to look like here. So I expect kind of a lower scoring game, maybe both teams like a 105 to 95 type of game, going under 221 for the Houston Rockets and the Toronto Raptors. And our final bet of the night in the NHL, if you look at the Los Angeles Kings right now, overall Los Angeles is 11 and 7 to the over. On the road, they are 6 and 4. At home, they are 5 and 3. They're taking on the Wild. The Wild are 10 and 6 overall on the year. To the over, they're 9 and 7, 4 and 2 at home, and 5 and 5 on the road. Wild are at home. 5.5 is the goal, is the number. 5.5 for these two teams at minus 120. Even money on the over, minus 120 on the under. If you look at the way these teams have played recently, 3 and 2, the Wild. But 3 out of the 5 games have gone over. The last game was a 4-0 victory by the Kings against the Wild, but the Kings scored 4 goals. Look at the way the Kings have scored. 4, 3, 2, 3, and 3. For the Wild, they have scored 0, 5, 1, 4, and 4. The goaltenders here aren't great. I'm not sure who's in net just yet. I don't care. I think there's goaltending issues for the Kings. I think offensively the Kings are going to score. I'm taking the over for the Kings and the Wild. 5.5. We're going over, even money. Over Kings and the Wild, even money on this. I think we see scoring. I think we see goals on a Friday night. And I think you're going to see these offenses both click and come to life. I like the Wild's offense. They can be explosive. They can score a bunch. They're minus 170 on the money line to go ahead and win this game at home. Kings have 21 points. Wild have 20 points. We're going over 5.5. So for the official plays for the podcast, we're going Drake minus 9, Utah minus 5.5, The under for Houston and Toronto, 221. And the over Kings and Wild, 5.5 goals coming up here for the Kings and the Wild in the NHL. So half a unit on those plays. 4 plays, all in play for half a unit. Now, the parlay. The Kings money line. The Kings are 2-3. So the zigzag theory, right? Even though they did win the last game 4-0, I think they can even it up here tonight on the road and get a victory. They are getting plus 150 here, so that really drives this to be a plus 800. I've got Boston bouncing back, and I know I said I would not bet Boston. I won't, but I will put them here into the parlay because they're laying 3 at home, and the knives are out for the Boston Celtics. You had interviews all over the place. You had all types of conversations with Danny Ainge going on Boston media. You had interviews with the owner. I mean, everyone is asking what is wrong with the Boston Celtics. Now, Indiana's coming in. They're 15-15. This might be the perfect team for Boston considering where Brad Stevens is from. I'm just taking Boston laying 3. And then the Sacramento Kings are one of the best teams to the over. The Pistons just played a game up against the New Orleans Pelicans, and they got forced into an up-tempo game. I think the Kings can do the exact same thing. They can force the Pistons into an up-tempo game, and I'm going over 224 on this. Now, last week when we did this, we went 2-1, okay? The week before that, I think we went 1-2, but we were always we get 1 or 2 of these right, and then we don't cash all 3. So I'm not recommending playing this, but this is an 8-1 return, namely because of the Kings money line, okay? So the Kings winning outright on the road, getting that victory over Minnesota. If they win, that's big. You got Boston -3, small number, and the over for Sacramento and the Pistons at 224. That's an 8-1 return, plus 800 on the parlay if you want to jump on that. Again, I don't play those, but that's something you can jump onto if you want a big return on investment. Feel free to go ahead and do that. So, 4 plays in action. We're 11-7 on the week. Let's keep this rolling here on a Friday into a Saturday. Let's hope we can close out the week strong, put together a 3rd straight winning week. That would be really, really cool if we can do so. Remember, the Giannis Antetokounmpo jersey is coming up real quick. Get that review in on Apple or Stitcher Podcast, bettingpros.com/juice for the form to fill out to enter into that contest. If you've already done it, great. You're already in from a previous contest. You're in for this one as well. We'll draw that name and tell you all about it coming up very shortly at the end of the month. My name is Matt Peralt. Join us every single morning. It's the Daily Juice Podcast right here on bettingpros.com, brought to you by BetMGM.